Pakistan and Turkish President Erdogan's hostility towards Israel, many believe closer ties between Greece, India, and Israel could benefit all three countries. Today, we are here in Athens, Greece, with Ioannis Poltzidis, a Greek lawyer and president of the youth department of the Greek Conservative Party Voice of Reason, to discuss this budding alliance. Ioannis, thank you for being here today. You recently posted a viral video of Indian soldiers training with the Greek Navy, which sparked a lot of online interest. And as someone who served in the Greek Navy, what do you think this says about public enthusiasm for a Greek and Indian connection?
You know, both India and Greece have a lot in common. Greece is the first democracy, is the country that created democracy, and India is the biggest democracy in the world. Both countries are facing the same problem, the Islamic radicalism that is expressed in a state level. We have Turkey, we have a country that threatens us and questions our sovereignty and borders. And India has Pakistan, which is a country that is doing exactly the same on India, trying to take Indian soil from India.
We see a lot of economic and military cooperation between India and Israel already, but is there any official framework or alliance on the Greek side that matches this level of cooperation between India and Greece?
Oh, as I said, steps have been made towards this destination, but we need to make more significant steps. Both countries need to tighten their relationship more. They need to make even further steps and face the common enemy that is called Islamic terrorism. We need to strengthen our cooperation even more. We need to make steps in the military industry. We need to build weapons that match our needs. We need to make even more steps and face the same common enemy that is called Islamic terrorism. Whether it's called Turkey, whether it's called Pakistan, whether it's called Hamas, Iran, Hezbollah, we need to come even closer to this destination. We need to become as one.
Ioannis, you mentioned your support for an Indian-Greek-Israeli alliance. Why do you believe this alliance is important?
You see, India, the three nations have a lot in common. First of all, we're ancient nations facing, that we were in the region for thousands of years, facing the same problem, radicalism. The same problem that India has with Pakistan, an Islamic country, threatening the sovereignty of India. The same problem has Israel with Hamas, with Lebanon, with Iran, threatening the integrity and sovereignty of Israel, and the same problem we have here in Greece with Turkey. We need to get closer and face the problem in its core.
How do you see the relationship between Greece and Israel evolving, especially with Israel's souring relationships with Turkey?
You know, since 2010, the Greek-Israeli relations have skyrocketed. We see a lot of close cooperation in the military industry. We see a lot of Israeli weapons being sold to Greece. We see that the Israelis are joining a lot of Greek exercises, and we see a lot of political support from Israel to Greece. But we need to further our relationship even more. We need to make steps towards this destination and see Greece supporting Israel even more. We should leave the neutrality and we should support Israel to the full. First of all, we should recognize the Jerusalem as the capital of Israel. We should support Israel in its war against Hamas, against Hezbollah. We need to support Israel within the European Union and make sure that Israel gets European funds to fund its war against terrorism, and also make sure that NATO will support Israel fully against the war, both against the war with Hamas, both against the war with Hezbollah, and mostly against Iran.
Israel's National Security Council advised Israelis to avoid traveling to Turkey, while in India, there's a growing push to boycott Turkish products and promote travel to Greece. By the way, here in Greece, I'm hearing a whole lot of Hebrew. What do you think about Greece being this safe alternative for Indian and Israeli travelers?
You see, India, if we want to speak the truth, Turkey is not a safe place for Israelis. The Sultan of Turkey, Recep Tayyip Erdogan, called Israel the cancer of the world. So there is a huge growing racism against Israelis that visiting Turkey. We see a lot of incidents happening with Israelis visiting Turkey. We see a lot of incidents that actually, and that's the worst part, those incidents against Israeli tourists are supported by the local population and by the government. Turkey is not a safe place for the Israelis. So to this, a good alternative is Greece. Greece is a safe house for the Israelis. Greece is a safe house for the Israelis that want to come here and invest in Greece. And actually, we've seen a lot of investment from the Israelis If you see, a lot of big hotels are owned by Israeli companies. A lot of real estate is owned by the Israelis that come and invest here with the Golden Visa program.
It seems that Israel and Greece have a lot of collaboration in the private sector.
We see a lot of Israelis coming here and investing in Greece. And that's because Greece provides a safe place for the Israelis to come and visit and see the place and spend their holidays here, but also to invest their money here and get a huge return.
And now the Indians are deciding that we see this as a safe place for Israelis, and we also want to come and enjoy Greece as well.
I just want to say this. Every Indian rupee and every Israeli shekel that is being spent on Turkey ends up funding the Pakistani terrorists, the Hamas and Hezbollah terrorists, and the other terrorist groups that work against Israel and India.
Ioannis, thank you so much for sharing your insights. And it's interesting to see as these global dynamics shift, it's clear.
Oh, that's interesting point. So the first question is why India is supporting Greece? Because recently when India-Pakistan conflict actually it broke out, so just after the conflict, we started boycotting Turkish products because Pakistan used the Turkish-made drones against India. And that is why in all over India we boycotted Turkish-made products. And then like there were many people who used to travel Turkey. All the flights were all the flights as well as visa were cancelled. And then during that time, like there was a moment, there was trend also like Indians should, if they really want to visit places, they should visit Greece. And 2 or 3 years back, I think, like India and Greece, they did first military exercise. I think if I'm not wrong, 2023. Okay, that is an interesting development, especially in Mediterranean Sea, like how this new alliance between India, Israel, and Greece is taking place. So India, that is why I think India is supporting Greece. Why? Because Turkey has always been in the favor of Pakistan on the issue of Kashmir. They have many times they have voted against India and they have supported Pakistan on the issue of Kashmir. And why Pakistan, Turkey, as well as Azerbaijan? Why they were together? There is one reason why they were together. That is Islamic ideology, and that is why they are together, and that is their base. And then there comes a Cyprus conflict in 1924, which is between Turkey and Greece, where Turkey, at least from Greece perspective, Turkey has occupied, I think, some of the land of Cyprus. If I'm not wrong, please correct me. And that's where Turkey and Greece conflict it came into the picture. And then comes Israel. Israel is fighting a war against Hamas as well as Hezbollah. So that is like this guy is also highlighting that point in the video. And the same on the similar line, India is also fighting against the terrorism, and we are not fighting like since 10 years, but we have been fighting against terrorism from our independence to till date, and still we are fighting. Since 1947, we are fighting. Yeah, that's an interesting development. Let's see where this alliance is actually, how this alliance is going to shape, and yeah, that's interesting thing. But let's see how serious our diplomats are for this new alliance. But that would be very interesting to see. That would be very interesting to see. At least now India is taking a stand. India is literally going like India has always followed the policy of at least NAM. I'm not saying that NAM is wrong or right. It is not about non-alignment movement was wrong or right. It is about at least if somebody is supporting terrorism or country which is against your sovereignty and which is literally supporting or funding terrorist organizations. So you really need to go against those countries which are involved in this kind of activity. And Turkey is the country, and that is why India is going with Greece when it comes to tackling Turkey. So let's see, and that would be very interesting alliance.